They snuck into my yard at sunrise with big cutters, trying to grab a boat that was my grandpa's before he passed away. What they didn't get was that I own the whole lake they're standing on, all legal and everything. Imagine this. It's Tuesday, morning, 6 a.m. I'm peeking out my kitchen window as Karen Brightwater, the boss of our neighborhood group who came here 3 years ago, leads 2 group members and a deputy sheriff to my boat dock. The early fog hangs over Lake Meridian like a spooky blanket, and there's this deep creak from the old dock boards, 40 years old, as they walk up to my grandpa's 1985 boat. Karen's swinging a paper around like it's a sword. It's a note saying I have to move my ugly boat in 72 hours or pay $500 every day as a fine. She's about to learn she just started a fight with a guy who was in the Navy and got more than just a boat from his grandpa. What would you do if a bossy neighborhood group tried to take your family's special stuff? Tell me your scariest story in the comments. Where are you watching from? Your neighborhood drama might make this seem like kid stuff. My name is Marcus Wendell. I'm 52, a retired Navy engineer, and it looks like I'm the biggest problem for Karen Brightwater since she came to our quiet Lake Meridian spot 3 years ago with her city ideas and even bigger bossy ways. Let me tell you the story of how this fight began. Lake Meridian is 90 minutes west of Denver, a beautiful 200-acre lake with 47 houses around it that started from old family lands. My grandpa Clifford bought what people called junk swamp land back in 1982 for $8,000. That's about what Karen spends on her face treatments each month. Clifford was a builder who always did things right from the start. He spent 2 summers making our cabin and that dock by hand with cedar wood that still smells like holiday trees when the sun shines on it just so. He'd share tales about battling huge bugs like tiny birds while hammering posts into the lake bottom with just a big hammer and lots of grit. The neighborhood was different back then. Families who worked hard with their hands, kids who could put worms on hooks themselves, neighbors who'd help you carry heavy stuff without wanting anything but maybe a cold drink and a fun chat. But things changed. Here comes Karen Brightwater, a house seller, neighborhood boss, and the type who probably makes her pool helper promise not to tell secrets. She came from Denver with her fancy car, her building ideas, and a plan to turn our nice spot into some fancy vacation place. The first time we met, she was in my driveway smelling like too much flower perfume that could knock out a big animal, pointing at my grandpa's boat like it was a dead critter. "That thing is making houses worth less," she said without even saying hi. I showed her the boat papers are up to date, the dock permits are good since 1983, the land maps are all filed right with the county. "I don't care about your papers," she said, and I promise she stomped her foot like a little kid. "We have rules for how things look." That's when I knew trouble was coming. See, Karen wasn't just mad about my boat, she was checking if she could boss around the old families before we fought back. Her plan showed up over the next months. She made this neighborhood group in 2018 with a bunch of new people from Denver who saw money signs instead of good memories when they looked at our lake. The goal was easy. Push the longtime families to sell cheap, then sell the spots to rich folks who'd pay big bucks for fancy lake living. My boat was just the first step. 3 other old families got mean letters about looks, rules, and fees to make things better. The Hendersons got in trouble for their veggie garden not fitting the group's plan. The Torinos were told their kid's swing on a tire was dangerous. But here's what Karen didn't get about Navy guys. We don't give up when pushed. We stand strong, and when someone tries to take what's ours, something our grandpas made with their own hands, we fight with all we have. I use that boat every weekend for fishing, checking if the water is clean, picking up junk after storms. It's not just a ride, it's a moving piece of family history. Those boxes for fishing stuff still have my grandpa's best hooks, the ones he said could catch fish in a tub. The smell of boat fuel mixed with old leather from his fishing jacket still sticks in the inside, stronger than Karen's perfume and way more real. She sent her first official complaint on a Tuesday. By Friday, I was crushing that cheap paper in my rough hands, feeling it fall apart like her chances of scaring me to give in. But Karen Brightwater was just starting, and so was I. The real question wasn't if she could make me move my boat. The question was, what would happen when she found out what she was really trying to take? Karen's first big move came exactly 1 week after our driveway talk. She called a quick neighborhood group meeting on a Thursday night, picking a time when most working families couldn't come, but her retired city friends could fill the room like a cheating card game. I went anyway, still in my work clothes and smelling like real sweat from a day fixing Mrs. Patterson's dock for free. The center smelled of fancy smells and people who think they're better as Karen stood up front with a slideshow that probably cost more than my grandpa's whole boat. "Slide 1, she said, with the sureness of someone never told no. "Plan to make our place prettier, keeping house values up with looks rules." The idea was smart in its meanness. All boats would have to look right with yearly checks costing $500. Boats older than 20 years would need big fixes to look new. Basically, spend $10,000 or leave. And here's the bad part. A new $2,000 yearly fee for keeping your boat on group waters. 23 new people nodded like toys while the 7 old families sat quiet and shocked. Karen had studied, showing charts of how fixes like this raised values in fancy spots by 30%. But I could study too. I'd spent the week before at the county office digging through old cabinets that smelled like years of dust and sad plans. My Navy lessons taught me that knowing facts wins more fights than strength. And what I found in those old papers made me grin for the first time since this mess. It turned out Karen's voting trick had a big problem. Back when I was in the Navy in Norfolk, I'd helped a friend fight a bad group fee, and the lawyer said Colorado needs yes votes from 67% of all house owners, not just who shows up, for new fees or big rule changes. Karen's meeting had maybe 30 people in a place with 47 homes. Easy math, but not in her house-selling school. The big surprise was in the first group papers. The group made in 2018 was missing signatures from 8 old homes, including mine. Those signatures weren't optional. They were needed by law, turning Karen's whole setup into a fancy mess that could fall. I waited until Karen finished her slides before standing. The lights buzzed like mad bugs as I cleared my throat. "Miss Brightwater, I have a question about your legal power to make these fees." Her smile dropped a bit. "The group board has full say over looks rules, Mr. Wendell." "Actually, you don't." I pulled out a folder full of copied papers. "Your 2018 setup is not legal. You're missing needed signatures from 15% of old owners as the law says in Colorado Rules 38 to 33-32001. The room got super quiet except for that buzzing light and the sound of Karen's world starting to break. Her lawyer, some smooth guy from the city, whispered fast in her ear while flipping papers like a guy hunting for a float in a sinking boat. Also, I kept going, liking how her face turned red like a too-ripe fruit. "The old homes have forever rights to the water edge that started 36 years before your group." That's when Karen showed what kind of person she is. Instead of giving up or saying sorry, she went crazy. "Mr. Wendell," she said, her voice sharp like it could cut, "I've got many complaints about your mean ways toward neighbors. Your Navy past worries many who fear for safety." The words hit the room like a punch. "Me? Mean? I'd helped half these folks move stuff, fix pipes for free, teach their kids fishing. But I saw it working on the new people. The sneaky idea that maybe the Navy guy is not stable, dangerous, close to losing it. In fact, Karen kept on, smelling weakness. "I'll file a real complaint with the sheriff about bothering people. We have proof of you scaring neighbors with questions about the group's realness. Smart and bad at the same time. Turn my studying into following, my legal asks into threats. Make the hurt guy the bad one while she acts like the nice person guarding families from the scary ex-soldier." Deputy Jim Torino, whose family lived here almost as long as mine, met me in the parking lot after. The rocks crunched under our shoes as he lit a smoke with hands that built things for 30 years. "Be careful, Marcus," he said soft. "Karen has friends in the city, people in power who owe her from her house deals. As I drove home that night, my lights cutting through dark mountains, I found something under my car wiper. A note on plain paper. Check the lake papers. Not everything is as it looks. A friend. The game was getting fun. That secret note sat in my pocket for 3 days before I got brave to check it. Something about checking the lake papers felt like opening a box of surprises. Once you look, you can't go back to not knowing. Karen didn't wait to fix her hurts from the meeting. In 48 hours, she made things worse faster than a fire in a gunroom. She made something called the Lake Meridian Better Committee with $50,000 from new people who had cash to waste on group revenge ideas. The first clue of her new plan showed on a Tuesday morning. Private guard boats going around the lake like we were sneaking bad stuff. 2 guys in same shirts and dark glasses circling in a fast boat that cost more than most cars. They'd sit near my dock for 20 minutes, taking pictures and writing on wet-proof boards. Then came the signs, big orange warnings put up in every shared spot. No boats without OK. Rule breakers will be in trouble. The law words sounded real for something with no real power, but Karen bet most folks wouldn't know the difference between real and fancy-looking. I knew I needed expert help, so I followed that mystery tip and drove to the State Old Papers place in Denver. The building smelled like old pages and office drinks, and the helper who got me stuff looked like she'd been there since Colorado. Became a state. "You want the first land maps from 1981? She asked, looking over glasses fixed with tape. "Those are in the bottom safe. No one's asked for them in maybe 15 years. The folders she brought were thick like phone books and dusty enough to make me sneeze, but hidden in all that office stuff was info that made my mouth drop like a heavy weight. Back in my Navy time, I'd learned that land fights often depend on who has the oldest right papers. New map tech has found thousands of mistakes from before satellites, sometimes moving landlines by lots of feet and giving owners money they didn't know about. What I found in those old files would have made Karen pass out if she knew. The first 1981 map showed Lake Meridian's edges were wrong in every paper filed after 1983. New maps showed what everyone thought was one big lake was really 2 separate waters split by an underwater hill that you could only see on the first. Ground maps. Lake Meridian North, where all the nice houses and Karen's future boat spot were planned. And Lake Meridian South, a smaller, clean water spot that, from the paper I stared at in shock, my grandpa didn't just buy land next to. He'd bought the whole thing. All water rights, ground rights, and ways to get in for Lake Meridian South, the paper said in old typing. Clifford Wendell wasn't just a smart buyer. He'd seen ahead that owning water in Colorado is like owning gold. You can drink. But Karen was too busy being a boss to check facts. Her guard push got worse that same week. Suddenly, cameras showed up at night pointing at my dock like I was doing bad stuff instead of just fishing quiet. The $500 daily fines started for real, sent by special mail with the push of a money chaser and twice the meanness. That's when Karen made her worst mistake so far. She started telling stories around town that I was a crazy Navy guy who might hurt the neighborhood. The quiet talks were smart but worked. Worried words at the store, scared chats at the gas place, always said as caring about safety. I talked to a lawyer from the Navy Help Program, a smart lady who'd fought water cases in West States for 20 years. She told me something that made my Navy side happy with planned joy. In Colorado and most West places, water rights go by who used it first for good things has full say over later folks. First to use, first to have, a rule from gold rush days that's still strong law now. The lawyer said yes to what the old files showed. I didn't just own a boat spot or lake way. I owned the lake bottom, the water up, and every fun use right for the whole south part of Lake Meridian. That night, as I sat on my grandpa's dock, hearing the soft water hit that I guess was mine, I could smell boat fuel messing up the clean air. Karen's guard boats were leaking fuel into water they had no right to be on, breaking my land rules and probably lots of nature laws. The sound of rocks in my driveway stopped my thinking. Plain cars had been driving by my cabin every hour since the story started, and red dots from map tools danced on the lake like a tech show. Karen thought she was closing in. She didn't know she was stepping into a trap made 40 years ago. Karen's next step showed she'd lost her mind. On a nice Saturday morning, while I had a family cookout for my nephew's birthday, a paper server came with a stay-away order saying I'd scared her at the open meeting. Imagine this. 12 family folks, including 3 kids under 10, watching Uncle Marcus get legal papers while burgers burned on the grill. The server, a young guy who looked too young to shave, stumbled through words about staying 500 feet from Karen, while my 8-year-old niece asked why the man was arresting me. Biggest shame? Timed perfect. Karen had planned this like a show, and I had to like the pure badness of it, even as my anger rose high enough to light a town. But if Karen thought she could shame me to give in, she'd really not understood what 40 years of Navy office stuff teaches a guy about waiting and careful plans. While she was busy calling city TV about the bad Navy guy scaring a nice place, I was quietly making proof that wins in court. Every mean act got pictured, timed, and mapped. Every talk got recorded, okay by law in Colorado, where only one person needs to say yes. Every witness word got official and filed. I'd learned this way during a land fight in my Virginia Beach days where a neighbor said our fence was on his spot. Turns out judges like people who come with neat proof instead of mad tales. Proof beats feelings every time in court. The expert land map I paid for showed something that made Karen's boat spot dreams even harder than she knew. Not only did I own the small lake, my landline went 50 feet into the big lake where every dock on the north side was built. Those fancy water houses weren't just near my land, they were partly on it. Karen's bad talk push got stronger like a lie war. She made an online group called Worried Lake Meridian Folks and started posting cut pictures of my old boat and land. The pics made my grandpa's classic boat look like junk from a storm and my simple cabin look ready to fall. She set up safety walks, basically group watchers in same hats who drove by my cabin every hour like town guards. The mind harassment was smart and never stopped, made to make me break from always being pushed. But Karen made one big mistake in her fact-finding. She went to my neighbor Ezra Blackstone, thinking the 78-year-old old teacher would be easy to trick. Ezra had taught kids for 40 years and could spot a trickster from far away. That woman offered me $200,000 for my cabin, Ezra told me over coffee that tasted like old oil and smartness. Cash, done in 30 days. Problem is, the county says, my place is worth $70,000 max. Smart buyers giving 3 times value always know something the seller doesn't. Usually that the land has oil, good rocks, or will be worth lots once a build plan happens. Karen wasn't being nice. She was trying to take family riches from folks who'd made this place with their hands. The harassment got worse than mind games into real breaking stuff. My mailbox got wrecked 3 times in 1 week, hit with bats, painted with bad words, and once filled with dog poop in a bag. Nice touches that showed Karen's class. Then someone put sugar in my boat's fuel, causing $1,200 fix. The shop guy shook his head as he showed the sticky mess in my engine parts. Seen this before? He said, wiping dirty hands on old clothes, usually in bad breakups or neighbor fights. Sugar doesn't mix in gas, just makes it like costly goop. Secret calls to the Navy help place said I was not stable and sent checkers to my door asking about my mind health. Shaming and made to make official papers backing Karen's tale about the bad Navy guy. But Karen's biggest mistake was setting. A quick neighborhood meeting for Labor Day weekend with one thing to do. Last vote on boat removal and safety fixes. She was pushing a big fight, betting I'd give in or do something dumb to prove her words about me being not stable. The sharp smoke from a fire on nearby land, timed to mess my cookout, mixed with sticky stuff from mean flyers taped to my truck at night. The always noise of guard boat motors had ruined the lake's quiet mornings, changing bird sounds to machine buzz from Karen's worry. As I pulled those flyers off my window, feeling the glue under my nails, I saw Karen had given me the best chance. She wanted a last fight. Okay, time to show her what happens when you trap a Navy guy who'd spent 3 months making a perfect case. The phone call that changed it all came from my lawyer on a Wednesday morning while I was drinking coffee and watching. Karen's guard guys circle my lake like sharks in shirts. "Marcus, sit down for this," she said, and I heard papers moving through the phone. We checked Karen Brightwater's past, and she's not just a house seller, she's a builder. My coffee cup stopped halfway to my mouth. "What do you mean? Mountain Vista Properties. That's her business. She's got buy deals signed for 12 lake houses if group fixes get okay. This whole group harassment, it's a money plan. The parts fit, like a planned boom." Karen didn't come here for views or neighborhood life. She'd come to do the smartest land steal I'd seen, and I'd been dumb to think it was about my boat. My lawyer kept reading from a thick file. Her money people are a city. Build group with $50 million for something called Lake Meridian Resort and Marina. They're planning to buy out all old families cheap, then make fancy homes with a private boat club charging $500,000 to join. I'd seen this way before in Navy days, watching builders circle bases like birds when close talks started. Pick on families. With lease stuff, push them to sell fast, then sell for big money. It was okay by law, barely, but it wrecked places built over years. "Here's the part that'll make you mad," she kept on. "Karen needs your boat gone because it shows old owners have real water rights. If folks see you using the lake free, it breaks." Her whole story about needing special access for the build. But the big surprise came when she read land papers. "Marcus, did you know your grandpa's papers include forever path rights across what's now the main neighborhood road?" I almost dropped the phone. "What does that mean?" "It means Karen's whole build can't happen without your okay. Every truck, every worker, every future guest would have to cross your land to get to the boat spot. You don't just own the lake, you own the only legal road." The size of Karen's need suddenly made sense. She wasn't just trying to remove junk, she was trying to get rid of the biggest block to a $50 million deal. My grandpa's $8,000 junk land buy had by accident stopped a plan. 40 years old. "There's more," my lawyer said, and I heard happiness in her voice. "Lake Meridian South is listed as key home for Colorado River cutthroat trout. Your grandpa signed a save deal in 1984 that gives big tax help, but stops any business build forever. Federal nature laws beat local build plans every time. Karen could build her boat spot over my dead body, but she'd have to beat the animal save law first, a court fight that would cost millions and take years. That's when Karen's lawyer called, like I thought. The offer came like a bad guy in a movie. $500,000 cash for a quiet sale with hints about bad accidents that happen to stubborn owners who don't team up. 48 hours to pick, he said, before the neighborhood handles it. I hung up and walked to my dock, looking across water that was mine, guarded by laws Karen never checked. The morning sun made the lake like gold liquid, and I could smell clean mountain, air that her fuel boats hadn't ruined yet. Karen Brightwater had just made the worst mistake of her tricky life. She'd scared a Navy guy who now knew what she was trying to take. Time to show her real plans. The plan room I made in my grandpa's cabin looked like a Navy fact spot. If Navy facts worked from a 1980s wood room that smelled like tree needles and 40 years of good living, 3-fold tables covered with law papers, maps, nature reports, and a timeline of mean acts that would make a big lawyer happy. My Navy help lawyer linked me with a nature law school at the university. And suddenly I had young law kids treating Karen's trick like their own fight against greedy companies. The main lawyer, a smart woman named Rebecca Martinez, who'd fought water cases for 15 years, said our plan like a doctor planning a big fix. "We don't just want to stop Karen," she said, spreading maps on my table. "We want to wreck her whole thing, so no builder tries this again. First, the underwater old stuff check. When law kids have lots of time and state info, they find what pros miss. Turns out the lake bottom had old things from a native fishing spot 300 years back, which started Federal old stuff save laws that made Karen's boat build as okay as a game place in a park. I'd learned from Navy that nature rules are like ice mountains. The seen part is small compared to hidden. One call to the state old save office brought experts who said yes to what the kids found. Lake Meridian South was now safe under the National Old Save Act. Ezra Blackstone was more than a nice neighbor. The guy had been making group fights since before Karen was born, and in a week, he'd made the old family's team. 7 homes for 40 years of lake past. Each family giving proof that showed Karen's mean push plan. "I've taught kids for 40 years, Ezra said, fixing glasses that saw more meetings than most leaders. You learn to spot bullies early, and the best stop is make them face results in front of who they want to wow." Deputy Jim Torino quietly gave something better than cheer. Police report numbers. Every fake complaint Karen filed, every mean claim, every check she started was in official papers showing a clear way of bad use. When cops see the same person filing every week, they wonder why. The news plan fit like puzzle parts. Rebecca knew reporters who'd covered like build bad stories in Colorado. These writers loved small guy versus big guy tales where little places fight company hunters, and Karen's trick had all for a big prize story. "Local papers love this," Rebecca said while marking points in a thick law paper. "Nature wreck. Navy guy mean acts, company greed, federal law breaks. It's what readers hate." The tech-proof part showed how bad Karen's nature crimes were. Water checks I paid for showed her guard boats leaked enough fuel to break the clean water. Law in 17 ways. Every go-around made real oil mess that could start nature cop actions with $25,000 daily fines. I found in my check that any person can ask for nature mess records for any water through free info law. The search showed Lake Meridian had 0 messes until Karen's boats, making a before and after line that would make nature lawyers happy. Map spots proved Karen's orange signs were on federal save land, making her no-boat rule an illegal take of safe home. The funny part was great. While threatening to arrest me for going on, she'd been doing real federal crimes every day for 3 months. Money Fight needed different tools. My lawyer figured hurts that surprised me. $50,000 in mean costs, $2.5 million in lost land value from her bad talk, plus clean costs that could be big. Karen's company was about to face suits that would make her $50 million build money go away faster than morning fog. The State House seller complaint was my fave. House sellers can lose their okay for hidden fights of interest, and Karen had been dealing buys while mean to the same owners through her group spot. Work rule breaks that would end her job, even if she beat crime charges. The proof pile filled. 3 boxes with 847 pictures, 23 hours of OK sound, and money papers proving Karen's business had pre-bought Build OK before she even came to our place. As I sorted the last folders, smelling fresh ink and law papers, I felt the smooth cards from new friends' lawyers, nature groups, news checkers, and federal folks who'd made jobs wrecking tricks like Karen's. The trap was ready. Now just wait for her to step in. Karen's need hit a new high when she saw her Labor Day time coming, and I wasn't giving up. Needy folks make dumb choices, and Karen was about to make enough for a big charge. The first clue came at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday when my new night sea cameras caught 3 people dumping car oil near my dock. The night video was clear. Karen herself with 2 group members pouring car waste into clean lake water while in dark clothes like town nature bad guys. I'd put those cameras after learning hard in Navy days. Always record when dealing with folks who think rules skip them. The system caught not just faces, but Karen's car plate as they ran like bad kids after a joke gone wrong. By 6 a.m., I'd sent the video to Safe Online and copies to my lawyer, Deputy Torino, and the Nature Crime Line. In Colorado, cameras on. Your land can record all time, okay. And what it caught was enough to charge Karen with crime nature wreck. But Karen wasn't done making her whole. That same morning, she filed a fake report to Nature Cops saying I was messing the lake with boat fuel. The funny so thick you could eat it while she was really dumping oil into water she didn't own. She was blaming me for her crime. the nature. Checker who came was a straight lady who'd checked nature crimes since before Karen found makeup. She looked at my clean boat fix papers and water checks, then asked hard about the new oil near my dock that didn't come from my tank. "Sir?" she said, kneeling by the water with test stuff that looked costly like a small car. "This oil type doesn't match boat fuel. This is car oil, and it was dumped here new." Karen's power push got like a bad ruler's way. She called county leaders saying I was a bad Navy guy who scared safety, made a list asking for mine check, and even put fake online words saying my Navy work was bad. But every step made more proof for my team. The fake words broke federal laws about bad talk to Navy folks. The mine check ask could be mean under Colorado hurt rights. And the leaders got wondering when the same woman kept complaining about the same guy every week. The money chaser group Karen hired to get fines added to my case by trying to claim my land through a fake group vote. Problem was, you can't claim land not under group power, and the try made papers of on-purpose land. Still, that would make lawyers grin. I'd learned in a past land fight that claims can be fought in 30 days in most places, and fake claims have big punishments, including lawyer costs and extra hurts. Karen's claim try wasn't just not okay, it was dumb enough for federal mail trick charges. My home safe company started their own check into the boat hurt, and their trick checker was an old federal cop who'd made a job seeing patterns. In a week, she'd linked my case to like weird happenings in Karen's past build jobs in 3 other places. "Mr. Wendell," she said at my table talk, "your spot isn't alone. We've proof of same mean patterns in other towns. Same builder, same ways, same mystery hurts to anyone who won't sell." The mean push reached silly levels when Karen's helpers started parking cars to block my driveway, making mean calls every hour all day, and putting my Navy papers online, breaking federal private laws for Navy folks. Each thing got proofed, recorded, and added to a growing file that looked like proof for a big crime case. But the best moment came when the city news guy I called put out the first story in a check series on group mean acts. The title was about Navy guy mean scheme on military families in Colorado, and Karen's built public look started falling faster than a house on lake ice. Nature groups gave proof of like bad build tricks, and TV news teams started filming around the lake like a nature show about company hunters in their spot. The always buzz of news flyers mixed with sharp smell of photo stuff, making it feel like a crime check spot. My lawyer filed the official complaint with the state big lawyer about group trick, proofing money hurts from lost work due to always law mean, doctor bills from worry health, and safe costs that were taking my Navy money. Faster than Karen could say looks rules. The news check was growing like a snowslide, and Karen was right in front. Karen's last needy try showed she'd lost all real thinking. She hired a private checker to find bad on my Navy work, thinking she could find dirt to okay her months of mean. What she found was enough hero papers to make her look like attacking a super guy. The checker's report, which I got through my lawyer's fine process, read like a Navy prize event. Navy prize for saving 12 sailors in a ship fire off a far coast. Many Nature Clean prizes for fixing bad spots at 3 bases. Great work record for 22 years with no bad marks. But here's where Karen's need turned to real crime. She tried to pay Deputy Torino to file a fake catch paper on me. The talk happened in the hardware store lot, where Jim stopped for fence stuff, and Karen cornered him with money pack of $5,000 cash. "Just file a home fight report," she begged, from the recording Jim made on his phone. "Say you got a secret. Tip about hurt threats. We'll fix details later." Jim Torino had been a cop for 15 years and knew pay try when heard. He also knew recording such as okay in Colorado and almost needed when dealing with someone trying to frame good folks. The federal nature crime team opened their case after seeing Karen's mean pattern across states. Turns out her company had done same tricks in other states, picking on Navy and low money owners with sharp aim. What I thought was personal mean was really a federal crime business. Karen's city money folks pulled cash faster than folks running from fire once the federal check went public. $50 million in billed money gone overnight when news titles said, "Federal check into Navy means scheme and nature crimes linked to build trick." Smart cash runs when federal folks ask, and Karen's fancy setup fell with big show like a planned boom. 2 group members quit, saying worry about Karen's ways, which is leader talk for jumping off sinking boat before federal talks hit. When members leave, the trick is usually done. The teller who wrecked Karen's whole thing was her own helper. A young woman named Sarah who'd been proofing Karen's bad acts for months while secretly helping federal checkers. Sarah gave recordings of Karen saying yes to nature break, land trick, and plan to mean Navy guys. "She told me to blame you for nature messes," Sarah said in the talk that would send Karen to federal jail. "She wanted to put proof of fuel leaks near your dock, then call nature cops on you. When I said no, she said she'd fire me and wreck my house job." The big news took the story with joy like sharks smelling hurt. Group Mean to War hero became TV news big, with nature groups making a Save Lake push that got helpers from everywhere. My money page for law costs got $75,000 in 48 hours from folks who'd had like Group Mean. Karen's team fell like sand at high water. The guard company stopped after learning they'd worked without okay on safe federal land. The money chaser backed off when they saw the claims were fake. Even Karen's city lawyer quietly left after seeing the big proof against her. In her last needy act, Karen met me at the hardware store, same spot she tried paying the deputy. She waited by my truck when I came out with doc fix stuff, her face twisted with anger from seeing $50 million dreams turn to federal bad charges. "This is your fault," she yelled loud for half-town to hear. "You could have moved your dumb boat, but you ruined all." 3 store folks and the lot camera caught her scaring me with hurt promises, saying I'd be sorry for wrecking her life and warning accidents happen to quitters. That night, someone painted bad word on my truck in big letters. The store video showed Karen's car come at 2 a.m. and leave 5 minutes later, giving proof for brake charges that would break her free rules. As I called Deputy Torino to tell the new crime, smelling the sharp paint still on my truck's metal, I saw Karen had given me the best setup for our last fight. She'd set one last group vote to remove bad things, planning to show fake proof and force an end to this war. Okay by me. Time to end this for good. The Lake Meridian Center had never seen a show like the crowd on Labor Day night. 200 people, squeezed into a spot for 50 with news cameras from 4 city spots, nature writers from 3 big papers, and federal folks watching from back like quiet guards of right. Karen had no clue she was walking into her own end. She'd spent the week making what she thought was her wind slides, with fake water checks showing mess from my boat and set photos claiming nature hurt. The woman really thought she could lie out of federal charges while federal folks took notes close. I sat in front with my law team watching Karen set her slides with sureness of someone never punished for her easy life. The screen lit with her first slide. "Guarding our place, last steps against nature threats." "Ladies and gents," Karen said, with show like a lawyer ending a bad case, "tonight we vote to take away forever the nature danger that scares our nice lake spot." She clicked to her first fake pic, my grandpa's boat with oil marks added by computer to the water around. The pic was good to fool quick looks. But she'd made one big mistake. She'd added mess to water that was mine, not the group's. As you see, Karen kept on, pointing with a light pointer that shook in her shaky hands. "This boat has leaked oil stuff into our clean waters for months." That's when I stood and the room went quiet except for news cameras turning to catch what all felt would be the big moment. "Brightwater," I said, my voice with the calm power that 22 years Navy teaches. "I have a question about your right to rule my land." Her pointer stopped. "The group has full power over group waters, Mr. Wendell. Actually, you don't." I walked to front and linked my computer to the screen, changing Karen's lies to law truth, because those aren't group waters. The first paper on screen was my grandpa's first 1982 buy paper, signed and official in old ink. Ladies and gents, meet the legal owner of Lake Meridian South, my grandpa Clifford Wendell, who bought not just water edge land, but the whole water you've fought about. Gasps went through the room like loud noise. Karen's face went white as new snow as the meaning hit like a big train of 40 years law results. Also, I kept on, going to next slide with expert map results. Your boat build would be on my private land, which is why you've been so needy to push me away. The room burst in mixed talk as folks saw they'd watched Karen try to steal millions. In Waterland through a fancy group mean plan. News cameras caught every bit of her world falling live. "That's not possible," Karen yelled, dropping all act of being pro. "Those papers are made up by a Navy plot." Deputy Torino stepped up with, calm joy of a guy waiting months for this. "Miss Brightwater, you're caught for trying to pay a cop, nature crimes, and plan to trick." The click of cuffs on Karen's wrists was the best sound since my Navy End event. But the real big moment came when the nature agent stood and said the crime check into her company. "Mountain Vista Properties is under federal check for nature trick, Navy mean, and big crime across 4 states, Agent Martinez said, while Karen fought cuffs that didn't move. "We've a way of picking on military, families, and low-money owners through group mean." The federal agent joined by giving papers for Karen's money records on the mean plan. Turns out federal teams had built a full case that would likely mean 5 to 10 years jail. But my fave moment was my last words. "I'm offering to sell lakeway rights to real neighbors for $1 each, and I'm making the Clifford Wendell Memory Wildlife safe to guard this lake forever." The big clap from old families and nice new ones covered Karen's yells as news cameras caught her walk through folks she'd mean for months. Her million-build dreams gone like morning fog, changed to federal bad charges and forever shame. Nature groups said Lake Meridian as the example for group-led save. While the city news writer told me her story series was for a big prize, Karen Brightwater had picked a fight with the wrong Navy guy. And now, all watched her pay. Right done with extra shame. 6 months later, I'm on my grandpa's dock watching sunrise make Lake Meridian gold and full of hope, breathing air no more bad from mean patrol boats. The quiet, broken only by soft water. On Cedar and Splash of Colorado River cutthroat trout, the same at-risk fish that helped put Karen in federal jail. Karen Brightwater said yes to 17 federal charges and got 18 months jail plus $200,000 payback. Her house sell okay was taken forever and her company broke after suits from money folks who'd lost $50 million on her trick plans. The mean suit I filed against her ended with $1.2 million money that got me calm and funded something better. When federal deals go fast, it means proof was too much to fight, and Karen's lawyers knew they had a client caught clear by federal watch. The new group board, picked from old families and fair new ones, works under rules needing clear, fair, and real power before choices. House values went up 40% after Lake Meridian got Colorado's first group safe water spot name, proving saving is better money than wrecking. I used the money to fix my grandpa's cabin into a family spot that honors him while helping the place he liked. The university made a lake nature study spot with our group, giving free watch while letting students learn saving clean places. Lake Meridian now examples for 15 other places fighting like Build Push in Colorado and near states. My grandpa's $8,000 junk land buy became the base of a save movement that guards thousands of land from company hunters who think small places are easy. The leader's Nature Save prize sits by my grandpa's fishing picks, a reminder that best honor past is guard future. Old families saw land values go high thanks to Forever Save Guard. While the Navy land rights money help I made helps other mean. Victims fight group bad. Karen's big fall became a warning tale that made Colorado leaders pass the Group Fix Act, needing outside watch of mean complaints and crime punishments for always scaring. Single cases often start bigger law changes when they show system problems. And Karen's federal court sent a word to builders in West that picking on Navy folks has big results. The first yearly Lake Meridian Save Party got 2,000 visitors who came to cheer group-led Nature Guard while doing fishing, walking, and learn programs. My grandpa's boat is the party main, changed from Karen's ugly thing to a sign of how regular folks can beat company tricks with grit and law ready. Nature parties make good visitor money for small places while teaching about save wins, proving guarding nature is right and smart for cash. Local shops said best sales in years during party time with visitors liking the clean lake and group that fought to keep it. Teaching weekend classes on knowing your land rights has become my after-work love, helping other owners know what they have before group bullies try to take. Sharing no makes lasting good by stopping future hurts. And every owner who wins makes the next Karen think hard about picking on small places. The calm I've found through nature teaching and helping feels like the prize my grandpa would want. His junk swamp by guarding not just our family stuff, but a whole nature spot for kids who won't know Karen Brightwater's name. Last week, I got a letter from a Navy guy in another state whose group is trying to take his sun panels through fake looks rules. Some never learn, but that's okay. Time for another call. What's your worst group nightmare? Tell in comments. Your tale might be next. And we love seeing right done to small bosses who forget Americans don't give up family land without fight. Hit follow if you liked watching Karen get what she earned. We have lots more tales where small beats big. And trust me, the next is even better. Thanks for staying with us on Group Stories where the bossy Karens meet their stop. If this tale had you cheering or hiding, like the video. Tell your thought in comments and follow so you're set for the next crazy group story.